Hey guys, welcome back. We had to do this emergency stream because I was actually on a call and I noticed something. Look at the size. Oh, wait. Hold on a second. We got the screen share. Everything is like breaking fast. Look at the size of the mempool that is growing on BCash. This is a bigger mempool than they had before the difficulty adjustment. Now this could only, I mean, obviously they haven't mined the block in about 3 hours, but I was looking at this literally 20 minutes ago, and then 5 minutes later, the size of this mempool doubled. This can only tell me that either a big whale or multiple whales have converted into BTC Cash and are moving it onto the exchanges, waiting for that confirmation. This could also be an exchange like Poloniex or Coinbase, awarding it either to themselves or to someone. Because I am not joking, I had to cut my live stream short in order to go to a private consulting call, and we were talking about this stuff, and literally I happened to refresh this page and the mempool doubled. I immediately told the people on that call, something big is about to go down. You guys need to look into it. You got to try to, I don't even know, maybe our viewers are watching. We got to check Twitter. The mempool literally doubled within 5 minutes. I have no idea what it means, but I can tell you what the outcome is. The outcome is that this shit is about to hit the exchanges, and the most likely outcome, I'm just guessing here, there's going to be some massive selling. And in the meantime, we're not really mining any blocks. It's been about 3 hours. So it's like a joint combination of people putting BCash transactions onto their mempool, which I have to assume is movement to the exchanges, or people liquidating massive amounts of Bitcoin to get this BCash. I don't want to like spread FUD. I don't want to spread rumors. But the moment I saw this, the first thing that came into my head is I've already been watching for the last 24 hours. Every time a block is mined, the price on Bittrex dumps because now there are more people selling it. I don't know what this means for other exchanges. I don't know if Trezor has fixed their problem, because the majority of the Bitcoin was locked up in Trezors. So I haven't had time to look at my Twitter. I literally went from my live stream to a call to the live stream. But we are trying to bring you the breaking news. And to me, this is massive breaking news. The size of the mempool being bigger than before the difficulty adjustment downwards. Jimmy walked away. Thomas, what do you have to say about this as we tweet this out and look at Twitter and see if anyone else is noticing this?
Well, first,
or am I just panicking for no, or am I just excited or panicking for no reason at all?
That's definitely the first thing that we want to cover. Is that's a possibility. We also want to ask to everyone in the audience: is Trezor open? There's a possibility that Trezor has adopted their code, or some other large hardware wallet that wasn't previously open that's now open. Technically, I don't know of anything that's happened recently. I do think this has excited everyone in chat. Everyone is excited about the clickbait title. They're ready to go. We've got 481 live viewers. If everyone could give us a thumbs up and a share, make sure to subscribe if you're new. And Jimmy, maybe you can tell us, is there something technical happening, or is Trezor active? Okay, so one guy is saying, okay, we're getting different opinions from the chat. They're saying no on Trezor. Okay, they're pulling back. No, so we're still closed on Trezor. But Jimmy, is there something else like that that could explain this spike?
Well, so that spike, if you can go back to it, Tone. Yeah, if you
I was gonna pull up the chat. Okay, yeah, here it is. Yeah. I mean, I am not joking.
Hearing in the chat that they're saying that Bittrex has opened. So Bittrex opening.
That's big. Why.
That's big. I am not joking. When I literally refreshed and the size of the mempool like doubled in under 5 minutes.
I'll be right back.
All right, the chat is pretty much confirming that Bittrex has open deposits. We're getting at least multiples on that. We're also still not sure on the Trezor, but yeah, it's Ledger works, and Bittrex, they think it's been open all day, but apparently People are probably now actively depositing into Bittrex.
Yeah, but when was the last block? I mean, a coin, this is the VAY BTC chart. So there hasn't been a block mined in 3 hours. So
let's keep in mind that they're saying Bittrex is requiring 20 confirmations. So maybe this is the 20th.
So wait a minute. So what are we on here? How many? Oh, we've had way more than 20 confirmations.
It could be. They say, I don't know, still reading the chat.
All right,
deposits are open, not trading. They're not sure on this.
Okay, so I knew something had to have gone down because mempools don't usually double in 5 minutes. So I'm waiting for the next block. The moment the next block gets mined, I'm expecting massive selling across the exchanges that have started accepting BCC inputs.
We are now starting to get breaking news that Trezor has Electron Cash merged Trezor support. You can now use it without exposing your private keys.
Oh, interesting. Okay, you think? Well, I would think that like this large increase in mempool is partly due to the 3 hours of no blocks. But
no, Jimmy, no. This is what I'm saying. It's not, because I was refreshing this page constantly, and this mempool doubled within a span of under 5 to 10 minutes, and it's been 3 hours since the last block. So if it got there slowly and gradually, I would agree with you. But what got me so, like, I guess not really panicked, but what got me jumping on this live stream is the fact that I literally saw the mempool go up at least 40% in a 5 to 10 minute span just now when you guys saw my text in the group chat.
Okay, so I'm going to guess, this is just a pure hypothetical. Now, if I were an exchange or somebody with a lot of UTXOs and I wanted to dump all of those, this is how I would do it. I would, I didn't have a chance to sort of consolidate all those UTXOs probably before August 1st. But now that the coins have split, I can just like dump all of them to an exchange or something. I think that's what's happening. Or there's a lot moving. It could be to an exchange. It could also be sort of OTC trades. We don't know. I'm guessing there's a bunch of. I mean, within 5 to 10 minutes tells me that it's probably something automated, which implies an exchange or a merchant or a third party.
Yeah, well, the ledger sounds a more plausible explanation to me. What Thomas said before Thomas walked away. Unless you have more on that, Thomas, go for it.
I'm eating a giant salad.
Okay, I guess he doesn't have more on the ledger, but yeah, it does seem like there's somebody that found that's moving a lot of coins. And do we know the value of these transactions, Tone, or is it just?
I haven't looked. I mean, and that's also not my specialty. I've just been keeping an eye on the mempool. And look, we've had 3 hour gaps, 2 hour gaps before during the span, and look what's happening right now.
Yeah. All right. Unfortunately, Blockdozer seems to be down, and I don't know where else I can go to sort of look at these things. If anyone has suggestions in the chat, I never really did. Oh, maybe Blockdozer's back on, but we could at least see what transactions are coming in now. I did see though that there were like 4 Bitcoin like the fees added up to 4 Bitcoin Cash tokens. So that's a lot, relatively speaking. Even like even on Bitcoin with 1 megabyte, if you get 1.5, that's pretty good. 4 tells me that there's like at least triple that, and fees tend to be lower on Bitcoin Cash because of the larger block size. So yeah, I'm guessing that's what's going on. Blockdozer is either getting DDoSed or they just have a lot, like very poor infrastructure or something, because they keep crashing. But yeah, are there any like if we could get more stats on the actual
now that I zoomed out, a little bit, it looks like I did make a mistake earlier. The initial block before the hash rate, before the difficulty adjusted, was higher than we currently are. I was looking at like a 1-day chart. Now looking at a 2-day chart, it looks a little bit in better perspective, but still, we've had similar gaps in blocks all throughout this area a couple of times. And when I saw this pop to double the size within 10 minutes, something is about to go down the moment the next block or two get mined. And if the next 2 to 3 blocks get mined back to back to back, you're going to see massive selling. I've already seen this twice overnight. I've already seen it. Anytime you get like 3 blocks mined in a row within like 20 to 30 minutes, there is massive selling across exchanges because now more people are able to get confirmed and be allowed to trade on the exchange at the same time.
Yeah, we haven't had a block in a while. It looks like Bitcoin.com via BTC, they actually don't have that much cash power compared to this unknown miner. So it's very hard to know what's going on.
Meanwhile, the price of Bitcoin is around $2,800 a coin, with the price of BCash at around $336 a coin.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I just wanted to be live when the next block gets mined, because I'm expecting some kind of fireworks. I would love to know more about Ledger and what's going on over there. Anybody with, should I go to my Twitter? I'm sure someone tweeted this at me by now. Let me see. I should probably retweet this. Did any one of us make a tweet, or we have to trust our followers?
Okay, so there's Blockchair. Somebody said that Blockchair is a pretty good block explorer for Bitcoin Cash, and they apparently have. Okay, so we could sort of look at the mempool. Let me paste you the link so you guys can see it.
Oh yeah, well, I'm just gonna say for this person, BTC probably did not switch, unless they're lying on their website, right? Because on their website, their hash rate is at 78, which is where it's been all day. So whoever tweeted that at me, I don't believe that is the case. Let's see, Jimmy, you just sent the link. Let me pull that up.
Man, some of these are pretty big outputs. It's like 700, 200. That's a lot that's transferring over.
All right, so what are we looking at here?
Do you think if there's large outputs, it's more likely that Trezor has opened up? Has anyone tried the Trezor update? From the site, it's just a link to GitHub, and it says that Electron Cash support is available. I'm not sure if this is the same as a easy-to-use user update.
Yeah, within 5 to 10 minutes, if it doubled within 5 to 10 minutes, I'm going to guess that it's an exchange or a third party. That has to be automated. You can't.
Yeah, well, like my guess was it's either Polo or Coinbase or Trezor. If I had to guess, it would be one of them, because look, both Poloniex and Coinbase can still totally save face with the Bitcoin community, or the shitcoin community now, but they can totally save face if they beat Trezor to giving people their BCash, because then those people would be able to sell and make the Bitcoin they feel they're missing out on right now, while Trezor is still trying to get its shit together. And I like Trezor. I'm very, it's very unfortunate that this happened this way.
We're hearing differing reports from the crowd. They're saying that the Trezor claiming tool is down. Also, they're saying that Bittrex has opened up. They believe that's the major cause.
That may be it. They were so out of whack with everybody else that, if I were selling my Bitcoin Cash, then I would transfer it to Bittrex right away. So I mean, because you're trying to get in on that high price, and arbitragers would obviously be headed that way.
Okay, Jimmy. So Sorry. So what are we looking at on this chart? I'm assuming it's on the big screen for everyone.
It's not. Let me see here. Actually, maybe it is. Yes, it is. Okay, so this is the mempool. There's like 6,000 transactions in the mempool. You can see load more 5,879 left. But these are the actual transactions. Some of them, like the output, it's incorrectly labeled BTC. But like there's a transaction there for 262 Bitcoin Cash, right? Like that's not an insignificant amount. That's like that's like $500,000, or if it was in Bitcoin that they took the, like you can load more and check to see if there's anything that looks interesting. We would have to go back to the timestamp of when you saw it double, but it does look like they're just sort of steady at the moment, coming in like 20 or 30 a minute or something like that.
I can tell you when it happened, because I had a 3 o'clock call and I had to cut it like 20 to 15 minutes short because it affected everybody. So yeah, it was
about an hour and 20 minutes ago.
No, it was less than an hour ago. It was about 30 to 40 minutes ago.
But it's 4:20 your time, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, and you said it was after 3?
Yeah, it was like around 3:40 my time. So it was about 30 to 35 minutes ago. I noticed that.
Okay, so it would be about 1940 UTC. Let's see. All right,
we did get a super chat from Freedom Streaming. He says that he's been following the blocks and it is really strange, even with the difficulty down.
Well, there just might not be that many miners. It's still more profitable to go on Bitcoin because it's more than four times the price of Bitcoin Cash. So from a profitability perspective, you're going to need to wait another 1,000 blocks or so before another difficulty adjustment. That's the normal Bitcoin difficulty adjustment happens. And that's going to take a while, unless there's like a 12-hour gap again, then they'll adjust downward. But I don't know, maybe miners are going for that. Oh wow, there's a 1,500 BCC transaction. That's a significant amount of money there. Yeah, I'm loading as many as I can. It seems like a pretty slow and steady number of transactions coming in, but I haven't hit like the 1940 around then that Tone has said. It might take me a little bit. I wish I knew the API to this thing that I can like query it.
We'd like to thank our 1,000 viewers and just ask everyone to give us a thumbs up and a share, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Go ahead, Tone.
Oh no, I was just gonna try and go back to Twitter and see what's going on over there.
All right, a quick check of Twitter. See what's going on.
All right, so Bittrex, here it is. So Bittrex has opened up for deposits 3 blocks ago. So it's only 3 confirmations into 20 required.
That's a lot.
that is a lot. This doesn't, I mean, it does make sense because remember, it doesn't matter how many confirmations they require, right? The sooner you get in, the sooner you get to trade, right? So everyone is piling in now because it's already been 3 hours since the next block. If you got a big transaction, if you can beat everyone else, I mean, like right now, you want to get confirmed. If you have moved, if you're sitting on BCash, and you want to trade it at a higher price and take advantage of the arbitrage, because Bittrex is trading at a higher price than HitBTC, you will pay a massive miner fee right now to be 1 block ahead of everybody else. Even if it doesn't get in there till like tomorrow, you will still beat everybody else. It's a stupid plan, but it is a plan.
Yeah. All right. So I'm at around the 1937 mark of UTC, and I'm looking at a lot of transactions that came in, slightly more than say like the last few minutes. But well, actually, no, there's a lot of transactions right around that time, huh?
I told you, man. I told you.
1935. So 1935 to 1939. That seems like a lot of transactions. They all seem to be kind of small value though. So nothing like huge value. Some of them are like whales, obviously, but others are not.
But Jimmy, it could also be my theory from the other day. Some Bitcoiner is getting pissed off and is spamming the shit out of their blockchain. And is this going to get worse?
That's a good question. I mean, most of them are at least like, 0.2 Bitcoin or 0.2 BCC. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's kind of hard to tell. It does look like people are trying to cash in, though. Yeah, if anything, it looks like, wow, there's some really big transactions here. I saw one transaction output of like 2,200 Bitcoins. That's a significant amount of Bitcoins. Let's see, 159. Yeah, it looks like they all happened around like 1925 to about 1935. So that's about 335 to 345, or 325 to 335. There were a lot.
That sounds about right. That's right in my window, because I was just like I was just refreshing this screen every 5 to 10 minutes, and all of a sudden around 3:35 my time, which was 15 minutes ago, 50 ago, the thing just like went straight up.
It's a lot of little transactions than lots of big transactions, but I mean, relatively speaking, if this on Bitcoin, I don't think they're this big. Like, 8, 6, 62, 44. Like, that's a massive amount of Bitcoins. Bitcoin Cash is not nearly as much because it's, about somewhere between a 10th and a 5th of the value. But it's like these are pretty big outputs that are being sent over here, which indicates that this is probably all people dumping. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, some of them are tiny, like 0.005, but for the most part, they seem to be.
Yeah, and look here is Bitfinex. A big drop on Bitfinex coming in. This is a 15-minute chart of Bitfinex, and here is a 30-minute chart on Kraken. And like I said, look, I mean, everyone. I mean, yeah, I am a little bit of a BCash hater, but I am trying to be objective about the trading element of it, and the financial element of it, and the speculative element of it. And I've been watching literally the action on HitBTC for 24 hours straight, pretty much at this point. And I've been watching what happens every time a block gets mined, and it's just a frenzy of selling. And when I was watching multiple blocks get mined in a row, it was just a massacre on the price. And then when I saw this happen, man, if multiple blocks in a row get hit, I mean, of course, if this is people lining up to be the first sellers, it's basically people running to get online at like the iStore for the new iPod. Same thing with if Bittrex is waiting for 20 confirmations. I mean, the faster you get in, the faster you can start trading.
Yeah, it does seem that way. Yeah, I'm trying to get a rough idea of how many Bitcoin Cash tokens are in this mempool. It seems like an awful lot. I think this is sort of just in terms of how big the block's going to be. I'd love to know how much in value is being transferred at this time, because it seems like a lot to me. I'm not entirely certain about that, though.
We are seeing the value of Bitcoin Cash rise to 358, and the value of Bitcoin is at 2791. We have 1,242 live viewers. Thanks to everyone for giving us a like and a share, maybe even a subscribe.
Hey, so I just got something coming in. Thanks, Rich, for posting that in the Skype. So this looks like, oh, this is the Explorer on like the from Trezor, and he says this Explorer is working well, like the block Explorer.
All right. So what is that?
So I'll shoot you the
BCH.
link.
Okay.
There you go. Good. So maybe we can see more, and maybe we can zoom in on that. We zoom in on some of these blocks and see what's going on. Yeah, but hey, it's been a while. I'm not sure what area the timestamp is in, but it's now been 4 hours since the last block, and this is really building up momentum. I mean, it's one thing in Bitcoin when you have an excessively long block, but how many people really care to get into the next block? It's not that much. But in this case, if you have a bunch of BCash tokens, it's literally a matter of thousands of dollars in profit, whether you are confirmed in the next block versus the block after, because every block gets you closer against your trading competitors to trade on the exchange.
Okay. Am I at the right place? Because I don't see the same thing as you do. That's kind of weird.
I clicked on more at the bottom.
Okay, let me see.
Show more. That's all I did.
Okay, that might be why. Yeah, I don't think their Explorer keeps telling me every block is orphaned, which is interesting because in a sense it's true. Yeah, this looks like the normal blockchain to me, the link that I have. Oh, wait, isn't that the same? So I don't think that's the Bitcoin Cash blockchain because the sizes are all
yeah,
because
also we see slush pool. There's no way they would do that. Yeah, so maybe there is another setting, or maybe I shouldn't have clicked show more.
Yeah, I don't think the see all blocks is
that one isn't configured, probably.
Yes.
Yeah, so see all isn't configured to BCH. So don't click see more, but this will show us. Yeah, so the last block had 934 transactions, and we are now looking at
6,000.
We're approaching 6,000 transactions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting, man. Like, I can't wait to see what happens on the next block.
Yeah, let me see if I can get a link. Well, I just want to know how much in Bitcoin Cash is, how much Bitcoin Cash value is there per block, because I think this one is going to be significantly more, and that could potentially tell us how much people are, like, if the average size of the transaction is much larger, then you would guess that you know, people are dumping or at least moving it to an exchange. Input to, oh wow, okay, so the last Bitcoin Cash block had 111,000 Bitcoins or Bitcoin Cash tokens.
111,000.
Yeah, the normal, if you go to blockchain.info, the normal Bitcoin block gets about 30,000 Bitcoins of value. So it's like triple, despite the, and you can look at the size of that block was actually not that big. It was, let's see, the size was 614 kilobytes. So the average transaction value is much larger in terms of number of tokens. But
and what block? What block was that in? The previous block?
Yeah. So here, let me paste.
So you know what that means, right? If that much value was in the previous block, if that block was the first block for the person to transfer that shit into HitBTC, he's about to have some massive selling power on HitBTC with a second confirmation. Or this guy is setting up to crush Bittrex because he's already in and early enough on the 20 confirmation sphere. Like, you don't know which one that was, or that could have been a block of him simply separating his Bitcoin from, that could have been a big Trezor user. If Trezor did, if there is a way to now connect Electrum Cash to a Trezor, this could have been a major player finally getting his hands on BTC. Sorry, on well, what are we talking about here? BCC, and now he's positioning to get that shit onto exchanges, and he wants to be in those exchanges as soon as possible, because if he's leapt over by a block, then he's losing money.
Right. Yeah, this is so interesting because the previous block before that only sent like 3,000, but the one after that is like 111,000. So it's very kind of sporadic. But but that was only like 149 kilobyte block. Looking back, that's like 17,000 for the one before that. I suspect, and then 110,000 on the one before that on a block size of 388 kilobytes. So this looks like, that tells me people are transferring it to dump or are doing it in larger lots for some reason, probably to transfer it to an exchange.
Okay, so Jimmy, explain it like I was a 5-year-old. Why is this block so big?
Well, this particular block, it looks like there's just a lot of people trying to move Bitcoin Cash to an exchange, or maybe it's it is an exchange moving Bitcoin Cash to something, for security reasons or something.
It's perfectly normal. It's not broken. Is this a bigger block than 1 meg? Is this like the biggest block in Bitcoin history?
Possibly. We had a 4 megabyte block already, so I'm not sure.
Not yet. So if you zoom this out a little bit, if you go to a 2-day window, if you guys can still see my screen, this was the biggest block in history, right there at over 4 megabytes. But this one, if a block isn't found in the next 30 to 40 minutes, this will probably break it.
Yeah, you can see the curve. There's a lot of transactions coming in. It's steeper than the previous sort of blocks where the mempool
it has way more transactions. It has almost 2,000 more. Well, not two. It has over 1,000 more transactions than this block. But this block was bigger in size than our current one. So this is an interesting dynamic. But it's pretty clear that this is composed of lots of small transactions. And if this is like a frustrated Bitcoin spammer that wants to give those guys a taste of their own medicine, this can get insanely interesting.
Well, if it was that, you'd have a lot more transactions, Tone. I could write a script right now that can generate more in a few minutes.
I didn't say it was a very sophisticated one.
We are getting additional reports from the chat that the Trezor tool is now live. Several users have had success sending their money with Trezor, but they say you have to send the entire balance of the account, not single addresses or keys.
Oh, wow. Oh, that makes sense. Worse.
So it's a key sweep, right? Yeah, that's probably what you have to do. You have to do a key sweep.
It's likely a key sweep, especially what Tone was describing yesterday, how he had to go to individual keys. You have to imagine they wrote a batch file, said, if you own the Trezor, you own all the keys, and we're sweeping them all at once.
Yeah. I mean, that would have been convenient for me, but this is not convenient for the market. This is how, panic selling starts and flash crashes, and there ain't no Fed to prop this puppy up. Maybe Roger Ver can be the Fed and Jihan. But if everyone is sweeping, if everyone is forced to sweep their stuff, like what I was doing last night, I was forced to spend the entire freaking night sweeping one private key per every HD public key at a time. That was a nightmare. If I was able to hit one button and just do it all at once, I mean, oh man, it would have been awesome for me. But not for the small amount of liquidity that is out there buying this shit. I mean, you wanna fake it till you make it. You want congestion. You want these exchanges right now to up their limits. We're not gonna do like the optimal thing. If you are a fan, I probably shouldn't give advice to the people I don't like anymore. But if you want this BCash to survive, you need to be on the phone with HitBTC, begging them to up their their number of confirmations. It'll be a small delay tactic, but the sooner people can get there, like the sooner they will dump. You want to spread that out as much as possible, because if the price actually tanks, that's a bad feedback loop that's going to push more miners off this chain.
Now, previously when it started, BTC was asking for 5 confirmations. Then they went down to 2. It's rumored that Bittrex is asking for 20. But I do believe that this Trezor link right here may be the story. And just more information for the people in the chat. A key sweep just means that you would sweep all the keys at once. Instead of getting your Bitcoin from one of your accounts, you would sweep all of your accounts. And what they're saying about this Trezor update is that you have to sweep all of your accounts. So anyone who accessed their Trezor just transferred all of their BCash to an exchange. And when it hits the exchange, we don't know what they'll do, but it's likely they'll sell. Tone, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. This is why I wanted to go live. I mean, I want to be here for this and watch it in real time. Who needs sleep?
Or a shower, or food, or a change of clothes.
You know what? I honestly, yes. I did manage to brush my teeth, but no, that I remember doing, but I have not eaten a single bite. Like, I just realized that. Thank you for reminding me. And I wasn't even hungry. I'm like running on adrenaline now all day. I got a bite to eat at 11 p.m. last night when I went out to get a cup of coffee. Just bought a sandwich, and that was it. And that was me sitting in front of a computer, copying and pasting like 100 freaking private keys one at a time. That was basically my night.
Hey, I got a couple of tweets from Provoost and Cryptic Hex. I'm probably butchering your names. But yeah, they're saying there's 330,000-ish Bitcoin Cash tokens in transit in the mempool at the moment, which is an insane number. That's actually like, let's see, there's 16 million, so 16,300,000. So that's like that's almost 2% of all Bitcoin Cash in existence that is in the mempool currently, which is kind of a staggering statistic.
Dude, that would scare the shit out of the Bitcoin market. This is like Satoshi deciding to move his stash.
Yeah, I mean, it's a significant amount, and the next block will also get a significant amount of fees too, I guess. I mean, I guess this is how it gets mined. Like if every miner was completely rational, what they would do is wait until the fees were high enough on Bitcoin Cash's chain so that it's actually profitable to mine. But that might take a really long time, and because they don't have replaced by fee, it would they would just have to keep waiting for larger and larger fees until you get to the point where it's rational to mine based on price. And right now, price is about half of what it needs to be for it to be competitive with Bitcoin. So,
and what happens when a 300,000 Bitcoin Cash sell order comes on the market?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, are there traders that are willing to absorb that much? I mean, I don't even know if
you can blow through this order book and take it to zero unless Jihan and Roger and I don't know.
I'm sure there's somebody with like a penny order for like 100,000. That's very cheap to do. So I don't like this is why those people on Coinbase's GDAX, when Ethereum had that flash crash, there were sort of troll orders for a penny or something like that.
Wait, but
I imagine there's stuff like that.
That's actually a good point. People might want to set limit orders of this thing, like something unreasonably low, because you can seriously, if that whale is about to just dump, whether for fun or he clearly doesn't need the money.
Because they have that much Bitcoin. That's funny. Although you wonder if some of this is actually like exchange arbitrage, coins moving for exchange arbitrage. So say you were at HIT BTC, which is relatively low, and you're moving some of these coins over to Bittrex to sell it because it's relatively high. Yeah, you know, that might be the case. So you're just sort of taking supply from one into the demand of the other, as a good arbitrage would do. So yeah, I don't know. That would be interesting.
I'm not gonna mess around with it because I'm just not, and I'm enjoying the entertainment value. But if someone does have, like, you know, a quarter of a Bitcoin, half a Bitcoin, even a Bitcoin that they're willing to, I mean, there's actually almost no risk. I mean, you can just put this thing up saying, you know what, I will buy up like a bunch of these things at $5, right? Which was my price all along. Because I can definitely see someone pulling an Ethereum style fat finger, only it wouldn't be actually a fat finger. It's going to be like, do I want to do it now, or do I want to do it when the clock strikes? Nope, now.
Yeah. It's very, yeah, and who knows how they're going to manage this, but yeah, and you know, if they're like stop limit orders, you can trigger sort of a cascade and things like that. So you have to be, yeah, I mean, you could potentially pick up cheap Bitcoin Cash and then sell it later on another exchange. But I mean, yeah, it seems to me that this is like the market working, but just very, very slowly. It's kind of like watching molasses or something. You know, like the market's supposed to work efficiently, except it's sort of limited by the speed of the blocks on the Bitcoin Cash chain. That seems to be the limiting factor right now. So, I mean, even fiat might be a little faster than Bitcoin Cash's transfer back and forth, just because, you know, miners aren't mining it. And I don't know, maybe Bitmain, or I was speculating that Mempool had put about 5% over to Bitcoin Cash, but maybe they pulled it back out. I don't know. But yeah, or this could be sort of collusion again, and they're attempting to take this out to 12 hours again, so that you trigger another round of 6 difficulty downturns. So it becomes 1/16th as easy as Bitcoin, at which point it might actually be profitable, because at that, you know, if it gets to that, then it only needs to be 1/16th of the price. I think it's been trading at between 0.1 and 0.2. That would certainly get a lot more miners on the Bitcoin Cash side, and that would be, and yeah, that would certainly trigger a lot of changes. So I don't know. Maybe somebody's playing a game. It's sort of this weird prisoner's dilemma-ish game where if you mine a block, you get a lot of fees and things. But, you know, like if you don't mine a block together, then you can drop the difficulty and everyone can sort of get a lot of mining reward, and you get to the, you know, 10-minute blocks, you know, a more steady state of the Bitcoin Cash network a little sooner, because you can get to the difficulty adjustment block faster, because, you know, it's 1/16th as difficult. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different scenarios here, and you know, there are incentives for miners to not mine, and not that many incentives for them to mine right now, just because it's not that profitable. And if they wait, they can and, you know, get the 6 difficulty adjustments downward, then they can make it a lot more profitable for themselves and for everybody else that's mining on that chain. So yeah, a lot of different weird, interesting things that are going on here with respect to this that you know, we have to think about.
All right, well, we've got 1,601 live viewers. Thanks everyone for giving us a like and a share and subscribing down below. The price of Bitcoin is $277, down from a high of 2807. Checking the price of Bitcoin Cash, it's down, or it's up on Bittrex to $505, while at HIT BTC we see $324. As Jimmy was saying, with this chart, Are these large bands individual amounts of Bitcoin? Is this orange, yellowish band, is that someone's entire wallet, Jimmy?
No,
I think
that's how much. That's the band. There's a legend on the left. On top, that's just a band of the total number of fees are in that range. And for the other chart, it's basically the total fees that people are paying in Satoshis per byte. So when you see that orange on the second chart, that means that people are paying 120 to 140 Satoshis, the fake Satoshis per byte. Let's differentiate here.
I heard they're calling them theirs.
Yeah, I don't know what you call it. I guess you can call it F traders.
Speaking of Satoshi, I just got a comment. Like someone kind of got it from my comment, but now I'm going off of his comment. What if it really is Satoshi with his 300,000 Bitcoin that may not be too fond of Bitcoin Cash?
I mean, you could. I think we would know that because it would come from Genesis blocks or something, or like very close to early blocks.
Would we know that? Is someone keeping an eye on that?
I would be shocked if no one had some. If we hadn't heard it from Twitter or somewhere, because that sort of thing, people are like watching very closely. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we would have to look at the outputs, but it would be very obvious the minute that hit. That would be quite the statement, though, if Satoshi.
Oh man, that would be unbelievable.
I doubt he'd risk doxing himself though, because his OPSEC's top notch, and he doesn't. I don't think he would do it for $1 million. I don't think he'd do it for even $1 billion at this point. He would maybe do it for like $1 trillion, but that's
I completely agree. I completely agree. Yeah, so we're still waiting on the block. I mean, this is like 2 days ago where we ended up on an 8-hour show waiting for a block. I honestly think this next block is as important as that first block was. I really think this block is going to be huge. I mean, it will literally be huge because it will be way bigger than like right. Though then again, the most likely scenario is that this block moves those Bitcoins out of Trezors and into the possession of those whales. They still have to wait a minimum of 2 more blocks before they can crash hit BTC, and another 20 blocks before they can crash Bittrex. And let's see what Kraken and the rest of them are up to. I mean, they're not saying anything yet.
Yeah, I'm starting to suspect that we are in a 12-hour lull, and we would have to run this show for another 8 hours to see the next block, because that's economically rational if these 3 pools, well, we don't know who 75% of the mining power is coming from, but if via BTC, Bitcoin.com, and this other, if they could collude and just turn off their miners and not mine for the next 8 hours, then they could drop the difficulty by another quarter, making it 1/16 as difficult as Bitcoin. And that would make it economically rational to mine. So
that would make it economically rational to mine, but that wouldn't necessarily make it, economically rational for the speculative trading environment, because I already seen what happens on hit BTC when multiple blocks are mined back to back to back within a short amount of time. It creates like double and triple the selling pressure.
Right.
If your blocks were spread out by an hour, people that got in that block get to sell, and then once that selling's exhausted, the market slowly recovers. If the selling becomes perpetual because the difficulty just dropped and people are being confirmed for trading on hit BTC and eventually Bittrex every 10 to 15 minutes, there is not enough buying pressure propping it up. And then you get this, drop, like what happens in the financial markets when there's no bid. The worst thing, like the panic, like what happened in 2008, what happened during the flash crash of of 2011, and especially what happened during the 1987 crash, where the market fell 23% in one day. The stock market was going up so much that everybody was long, nobody was short. When the market started to fall, those that were long sold their positions. There were no short players in that market to take profit off the short trade. Nobody knew where the bottom was. Nobody wanted to bid, and the price just, the S&P 500 and Dow just fell 23% in one day because there were just no buyers. There was no manipulation. There was no conspiracy theory. There were just no buyers. They just blew through the order book.
Yeah, and that may happen, right? Like you have to be really careful. And I don't know. I suspect though that may be what some people want, so they can, like, if you are somebody that is interested in picking up a lot of Bitcoin Cash, you want it to crash so that you could pick them up all at the same time, you know, at those low sort of trollish orders almost. And pick up a ton of those, and then you can pump it again and then make it economically rational to mine at a very low cost to yourself. And, you know, that may be the master plan of the Bitcoin Cash, you know, overlords or whoever it is that's trying to make this thing go, is you crash the difficulty, make it economically rational to mine, but at the same time, flood the exchanges with sell orders and make the price crash so you could pick it up. And then, you know, your plunge protection team doesn't have to spend as much money because you pick up a lot of the cheap coins and you get the selling pressure out of the way early. And then you can, you know, after all the people that are going to sell have sold, then you can manipulate the price a lot easier because there just isn't as much selling pressure left. I don't know. What do you think of that theory?
We've got a quick recap. Well, go ahead, Sam.
No, go ahead, Thomas. You're breaking. Go.
I was just going to go with a quick recap for those of us who are just joining us right now. There's a very large block that's in the process of being mined on the BCash network. As you can see from this chart, the block is much larger than all previous blocks. We believe this block is probably due to Trezor now offering the support for users to take their BCash out of Trezor and transfer it to an exchange. It also might be due to Bittrex opening up BCash deposits. The price of Bitcoin on Bittrex is $499. The price of Bitcoin on HitBTC is $317. The price of Bitcoin is $27.99 or $27.79. And we're also hearing reports that people are having trouble withdrawing their coins from Ledger. Previously, Ledger had worked, but we're hearing outlying reports of potential problems with Ledger. When this large block lands, Tone, what will happen to the exchange? What do we think is going on here? Just to recap for people that are
probably nothing. Actually, probably not much will happen to the exchange when this block lands, because most likely these are the people that were within the last 4 hours were able to withdraw their BCC from the Ledger wallets. So they will need at least 2 additional confirmation before they will get to sell it on HitBTC. So after this block gets in, we're just getting closer to, like, you know, event horizon. But most likely not much is going to happen. But what I am liking is this is the price of Bitcoin continues to go up because people are selling BCash every chance they get. Now, the worst case scenario right now would be for it's been 4 hours since we found a block, and then if 3 blocks are found almost immediately within each other, that becomes a major problem for the exchanges. So the worst case scenario is basically within the next 20 minutes 3 blocks are found. It'll be a complete massacre, in my opinion.
We'd also heard reports that Trezor was using a key sweep so that all of the keys on your Trezor would send the BCash. So there could be a lot of these coins moving around. We're also hearing there's problems with the Trezor server, so they may be overwhelmed. We wanted to thank everyone for their Bitcoin donations. As you can see on the right here, we've got a Bitcoin address. We've had a donation for 0.00097, and we've also got a $10 or a 10 euro, I'm not sure, super chat. He says the highest BCash transaction is currently in the mempool at 84,704. Just sort the columns on the Blockchair site. Monetary volume ascending. Go ahead.
Can I correct myself for a second?
Sure.
The worst case scenario would not be 3 blocks in a row being mined next. I had a minute to think about it. The worst case scenario would be the next block being mined eventually. Doesn't really matter when. Then a maximum amount of time between the block that's about to come and the block after that. And then after that one, 3 blocks in a row, because that would guarantee everybody goes to hit BTC at the same time. Like if the next 3 blocks get mined back to back to back, only the first batch of Trezor people would only get on hit BTC. If that happens after a couple of blocks, when way more people become instantly eligible to dump coins, that would be the worst case scenario.
Wow.
About how long do you think it could take, Jimmy? Could the block happen soon? Happen forever? Are we going to be on here all night? Are the blocks only moved by video live streams? That's a theory.
Yeah, very hard to tell. I would say that we don't really know, because we don't know who's turned on their hash or hash power towards Bitcoin Cash. We don't know who has it on Bitcoin. I suspect that they're purposely holding off so that they can make it economically rational to mine on this chain and sort of just suffer now instead of suffering later. But that may not be the case. There might be the same amount of hash power. They're just getting really unlucky, which is definitely within the realm of possibility. And this sort of thing happens on Bitcoin all the time, where you don't find the block for 2 hours or something. So we don't know is really the answer. And most of these statistics, people are like constantly asking me on Twitter, well, how do you know what the hash rate on Bitcoin Cash is? Well, you don't. You can only guess based on sort of the blocks that are found and how often they're found. And it's just an estimate, and you can't really know that unless you can audit every machine in the world that's mining Bitcoin Cash and sort of get a counter of how many hashes they've actually mined. But that's not a very efficient way to do it, and none of these miners actually report that sort of thing anyway. So yeah, we're in this kind of limbo situation where everything's a little bit opaque. We don't know how much hash power is on Bitcoin Cash because there's probably miners coming and leaving all the time. So yeah, it's kind of a really crappy situation. We don't know.
We've also got a question for Tone. Why does the price of BCash keep going up? Yesterday, Thomas sold his so he could buy 1 laptop, but now he could buy many laptops. This makes no sense.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I'm not sure what price you got, Thomas, but I'm pretty sure you're not that unlucky to get the very low. I'm assuming you sold at almost the same price as what we're seeing right now. That would be my guess without knowing, and you don't have to tell me. My guess would be you pretty much got the price we have right now. The reason the price starts to go up is after every block that is found, people try to get their BCash on there and immediately sell it, and then the selling pressure dries up, and there is enough, die-hard believers out there that this is actually a viable alternative to Bitcoin. And once the selling pressure ends after a block, the price starts to tick up because, again, there's no more sellers. These exchanges are very illiquid right now. Sellers come in after every mined block. Once that pool of sellers is exhausted, the price begins to tick up. I've seen numerous situations where blocks were mined on back-to-back-to-back, and that's just continuous selling pressure. But whenever you have these large gaps of an hour or two of no block, that means there is 0 new Bitcoin Cash coming onto the market. And don't forget, it's also like be in mind, 12 and a half BCash every like block is not that big a deal, considering to how much is already in circulation, ready to be moved around. So that's pretty much it. It's just the sellers are in control after a block, and then the buyers go in control. What's happening right now is that people are starting to realize that the pressure is building, and the longer it takes for this block, the bigger the massacre is going to come, because it's averages, right? I mean, we've seen the Bitcoin network go without a block for hours, and then we've seen numerous blocks in less than a minute. So it's a law of averages, and those that have been enjoying the little pump over this 4-hour delay will, if they're smart, they're going to know that the law of averages is going to bite them in the ass, and they're going to preemptively get out, expecting, a slew of blocks to come in, especially if they're paying attention to the difficulty change. I mean, that's another wrinkle right in there. If you're fully on top of every block, and if you're a trader, if you're sitting there trying to really make money off this stuff, you need to know exactly how much time needs to pass between every block to know the exact second the difficulty is going to adjust down, and by how much it's going to adjust down. Jimmy can confirm that these are measurable metrics. If you put in the time, instead of copying and pasting private keys all night, someone could have put in a little formula into like even Excel and know exactly when the difficulty would adjust it by how much with every block that gets mined, right, Jimmy?
Yeah, I mean, you can. I mean, the rules are all there, and you need like a 12-hour gap in 6 blocks in order to do that difficulty adjustment. I don't know what's going on, but I have suspect that this is sort of miners playing so that we have rational chain, basically. I did post a link there to Blockchair Bitcoin Cash transaction that I found interesting. I would say that is the biggest whale transaction that I have seen in a very long time. And it is 84,000 Bitcoin Cash being transferred.
I have it up. I'm not in control, so Thomas might have to like force screen on me unless he wants to open up the same.
No, he's got the same thing. But check out the value there: 84,704 Bitcoin Cash. That is, even for Bitcoin Cash, that's $34 million. That is
wow.
That is a lot of. I mean, that's kind of crazy that such a UTXO with such a large amount exists. In Bitcoin, that's well over $200 million. Yeah, $271 million. So this is a centimillionaire, or maybe an exchange or a business. I don't know. But
I know, and this is why, like this incident with the hard fork, this is why it bothers me so much, because it completely favorites the rich. It's literally a way. It's like proof of stake. It's literally allowing the rich to get richer right now, and you don't know if the people that started up this, rally, the little guy needs this and the little guy needs this, and the people that are sitting at the top are the ones that will benefit the most. And I am worried about those people being these big dumpers, just getting richer off of this and driving that movement. It's not. It wouldn't be the first time in history, and it sure as hell ain't going to be the last.
I will say that with any fork like this, it's just sort of a percentage increase. So I mean, in that way, I think it's like relatively fair, right? Because if Bitcoin Cash price was static, and you didn't have any insider information, then everyone would basically. And all the Bitcoiners sold to the Bitcoin Cash people, all their Bitcoin Cash, then everyone would increase by some fixed percentage. Seems relatively fair to me, but I mean, who knows though? Like as far as you know, larger whales, they have their own problems with like, you know, order books that that will disappear on them. I imagine if you're selling 84,700 for Bitcoin Cash tokens, you're going to have to go OTC or something, because there's absolutely no way you're going to be able to fill that in any order book. There just isn't that much liquidity without like some serious slippage.
All right, we've got a question from a chat. He asks, why BCC if Litecoin already has 4 megabyte block size?
And they have more regular block schedule and everything, yeah.
And Bitcoin has a 4 megabyte block size as well if every transaction is a SegWit transaction already. At least the equivalent of a 4 megabyte block size.
Well, it would be more like 2 megabytes on average. You can do a 4 megabyte block, but it would have to be an insanely large transaction that's a single SegWit transaction, and that wouldn't be that useful. So on average, just the way it works, it ends up being about 2 megabytes in size, and like the motivations for a miner are slightly different. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it does bring up a question. Why not Litecoin? Well, I guess the holders are different, because you have a lot of Bitcoin people that automatically own this thing because of the airdrop. But yeah, I mean, I guess if you wanted to utilize it for something, Litecoin might be faster, since they have SegWit and Lightning and all this other stuff. So I don't know. Good question.
How many weeks away are we from everyone launching their coin like this?
Well, it depends how the next 24 to 48 hours goes, because it could be everyone or it could be no one.
A very exciting 24 hours for BCash. We're still looking at the mempool. We're still looking at a giant block. We don't know what's going on. Our theory is that Trezor has opened up withdrawals, and that Bittrex has opened up deposits. We are starting to see some price action on Bittrex. The price of Bitcoin Cash has fallen from $4.99 to $4.85. Meanwhile, on Hit BTC, the price has actually risen slightly to $3.21. The price of Bitcoin holding strong at $27.93. Thanks to everyone for watching, giving us a thumbs up, a like, a share, a donation. We have 1,839 viewers, and I think we might go until the next block, which may be forever.
Hey, Thomas.
I'm not staying on 8 hours again. No.
Hey, Thomas. I would strongly recommend doing these updates. Not versus the US dollar, but versus the Bitcoin price, because there's a huge dynamic between the two. And if there is going to be massive selling of one into the other, then the dollar price of BCash may actually not change all that much, but the price of Bitcoin could shoot up, or vice versa, of course, if I'm totally wrong. So we really should be quoting these. And I'm looking at Bittrex now. In terms of Bitcoin, Bittrex is down about 30%. It's falling below. It's just flipping between 0.1 and 0.115. That is a huge bid-ask spread. That is a 15% bid-ask spread, and it's just flipping between the two on the trades. And when I see this in traditional markets, it's just gearing up for a complete failure and a complete drop.
We're getting a report in the chat that they might have a block. Not sure. We're also
that would totally make sense. I mean, the action that I'm seeing right now on Bittrex, and I have someone in the chat is saying that a mined block doesn't have an effect on the price, which is kind of bothering me, because for the last 12 hours straight, or like 18 hours straight, that's all I've been watching. So I know exactly the kind of effect it's been having on the price.
Yep, we found one 2 minutes ago. Block 478,600. Yep.
Right. So I'm expecting a massive dump right now, but not right now. 2 blocks from now, I'm expecting a much bigger dump than whatever is happening now, because most likely at the moment, let me pull up the chart. Where are we here with Bittrex? I have too many tabs open as usual. Here it is. Might need to refresh here. And let's see what we got. I honestly think the not the next block, but the block after is gonna be the deciding block. Whether that big whale is malicious, or does he care, or does he actually want it? So we're already seeing this is what happens. The moment you mine a block, it drops. But that giant transaction, that guy just got his hands on it. He'll have to wait 2 more in order to dump it on HIT BTC. And if you don't see the price on HIT BTC get smashed, then there is a likelihood that he moved a bunch of it to Bittrex instead, and we'll now have to wait for 20 confirmations. Now, this is huge game theory on the side of the trader. Do you want to dump? Do you want to take your profit at 10% right now and crash HIT BTC, or do you want to wait 20 blocks in order to try and crash an exchange with more liquidity, more volume, and a higher price? And keep in mind that if the world knows that you're going to do this, the miners may just walk away, because if they suspect that you're about to drive the price to almost zero with that 20th confirmation, where is their incentive of mining the next block?
Yeah, just want to give a few statistics on this last block. It was 4 megabytes. It had 227,000 Bitcoin Cash tokens. And that's the equivalent of something like $90 million USD. So, I mean, that's a lot of value being moved around, probably because latent demand, but, also just a lot of people that want to get rid of it or dump it or something. Yeah, we don't know what's going to happen, but it does seem like there's a lot of movement here.
All right, let's go take a look at the mempool.
I'm guessing it's a lot lower now.
Not yet.
What do you mean? There's a huge drop there. Look at that.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that. Let me zoom in. Hold on, I totally missed that. Good eyes. Let me go to 8 hours, and there it is. They did drop it down to virtually zero.
Wow. We have a question from Damujan. Supposing they would like to control them, how effective can they be in controlling the speed of the blocks? Well,
it's a hard question, man. Good luck.
Well, really the only thing you can do is when you find the block, decide not to release it. And that's really the only control you have, or you can just not mine at all. So what you could do is just keep the miners running, and if you find a block, you could decide just not to share it with the network if you want to slow it down. If you, obviously you'd be giving up your Coinbase reward and all the fees, but that's one way you can sort of affect things. The other thing that you could do is, release it like a little bit later than the time when you actually found it. That would delay it a little bit more. Doesn't really affect things in terms of the transactions in the block because it's the exact same block. But nodes are supposed to be accepting these blocks even up to 2 hours different than the actual timestamp on the block. So yeah, I mean, you could mostly, I think you'd just be throwing either not mining at all or throwing away proof of work that you found.
Can I throw one more in there?
Sure.
If you have mined the block and you think you can delay it for a minute and get away with it, and there are idiot exchanges out there trading futures contracts, you can pick up a shitload of futures contracts, short the hell out of it the moment before you release the block, because that almost gives you a zero risk trade for monster gains. And if this was the traditional financial market, properly regulated, this would send you to jail for like 20 years.
Yeah, and that's certainly something you can do. I don't know how many have leverage trading on Bitcoin Cash yet. I imagine that's probably not.
They did. Kraken did before the hard fork. A lot of people got in hot water about that, and then some of them wanted to blame me because I said it was going to $5. And that sucker went up to 19 on nothing but speculation and no reality. You're about to get your first taste of reality, guys. What's about to happen in the next 3 to 4 blocks is what I was expecting to happen within the first 24 hours. Look, I was a little wrong on my time, and I was a little wrong on my assumption, but the massacre that is about to come when these massive conversions out of the Trezors are going to hit the exchanges, I can't wait to watch this.
Do you think it goes to $5, Tom?
Yes, I do.
Wow. Okay. We'll see. What do you want to give a new estimate for a date when it happens? I mean, there were a lot of people trolling you on Twitter saying, "I'll trade you for $5." That's not going to happen now, obviously. But
we are seeing reports in the chat that Trezor's servers are overloaded with people attempting to withdraw their BCH.
So if that's the case, what we should see is the mempool go steadily back up, or very quickly go back up as Trezor releases a bunch of transactions.
You do realize it's a race for who gets to sell first, and it's finally happening, and we're here for it live. I mean, granted, I'm on a little lack of sleep because I was prepared to do this, 24 to 48 hours ago, but this is what I expected, and it's happening right now.
Yeah, and it very well may be. We are definitely watching very closely what's going on. If you just joined us, the mempool got really, really big, and then we found the block, and it got rid of about 4 megabytes worth. It had about 220,000 Bitcoin Cash tokens in it, and we suspect that a lot of it is people transferring to Bittrex perhaps. Maybe from a Trezor. So there's a lot of different things going on here. And we're just sort of monitoring the situation because it does seem like this is happening. Something is happening.
And I can tell you what else is happening right now. All of those big holders with Trezors that are now having a problem withdrawing their BCash from the Trezor because the servers are overloaded. These guys are praying to high heavens that another block is not going to be found in the next 5 minutes. Because if a block is found in the next 5 minutes, they fall a full block behind to get their shit into the exchange, as opposed to the people that just got confirmed. Meanwhile, the people that just got confirmed are immediately transferring this shit into the exchanges and praying for a block immediately so they can trade it sooner than later before a bunch of guys that weren't fast enough to react join them. This is what's happening right now in the minds of these traders.
Yeah, and we might be in a situation where, if quick blocks are found, you only, you don't get as big a dump as 3 separate blocks. Exactly.
So
maybe that's part of the strategy. I don't know.
Exactly. The worst case scenario, the worst possible thing for BCash is to have another one of these giant buildups, because all of these guys are sitting here going, come on, I want to trade my shit before a bunch of other whales come in. Meanwhile, the whales are praying for this to be as long as possible. So the next block is going to be huge. If the next block is going to be real quick, then these guys have a monster advantage on the trade. If the next block takes even longer than this block, and then they're found 2 or 3 in a row, then double this amount would immediately hit BTC, literally right in the head.
Hey, so that 86,000 Bitcoin Cash output, apparently somebody from Bittrex said that it's them. So I don't know if that's true or not, but that sounds about right. It's somebody from Bittrex that was sort of splitting the coins, and that's how much they have in Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash.
Right. Well, there's no way we could have assumed that, but if that's true, then the dump will be smaller. I mean, I had to assume that it was a player, and I couldn't assume that it was the exchange. But everything I said still applies, and it can still be possible. But if it is Bittrex, then perhaps this isn't the massacre block.
Wow.
But it's coming.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we might see a big dump. I'd like to thank the almost 2,000 people watching at the moment. We have 1,992. We're very close to 2,000. You know, obviously we're here sort of watching it and seeing if anything interesting will happen as a result of this giant block that was over 4 megabytes. But yeah, we've been watching the exchanges. We've been watching the Bitcoin Cash blockchain. We're just doing a lot of analysis. Nothing in particular has happened, but this is we believe that this giant block of transactions and combined with Bittrex accepting Bitcoin Cash deposits means that some action is about to go down. So that's what we're sort of watching right now.
And I see that Polo is back.
Oh, are they back?
Apparently. Oh man, Polo's got a huge problem. Polo's got a huge PR problem on their hands. There's no way they can reasonably list this token for trading if they didn't award this token to their users. So they're in a bit of a pickle right now.
Indeed they are. Indeed they are.
Okay, so going back to Bittrex, a person from Bittrex admitting that this is them. I mean, again, people like to shit on financial regulation in the stock market, and I will agree it's not perfect. But the kind of speculation that I was doing, this is the kind of regulation. This is why regulation is there. This is why CEOs of companies are required to announce when they are selling large amount of stock so that it doesn't cause, unnecessary panic in the market. This is why some of this regulation exists. So if a large exchange is going to move this kind of weight, they need to announce it so that there isn't this speculative pressure on the markets, especially now that they have to, be accountable to what appears to be a 24-hour live news network.
Wow. Yeah. So, interesting theory.
We got a block. Did we get another block?
Let me see here. We might have.
It does look like, according to the chart, we got another block. The new block is edging down very sharply. I think that's a block.
It is a block. Block 478601.
Oh man, there are so many people with ledgers. They are just cursing up a storm right now because they just fell behind one block of everyone that was in here, even if that wasn't like one of the exchanges.
All right. So I do want to give this theory that I'm reading on Twitter. This anonymous person points out that whoever the anonymous miner was that has been mining on Bitcoin Cash, they're doing it at a significant loss. And we know that they're probably losing on the order of hundreds of thousands of dollars a day. So their speculation is that they're mining these purposefully slowly so that not everyone can dump at once, kind of to your theory, Tone. If you had fast blocks and reasonable times between blocks, then everybody would just be able to sell. The exchanges would be able to get their 20 confirmations and so on. What this person is speculating is that because the whale, all these people can't dump at once, the whales can sort of sit, or the people that are on the other side of the trade can sit back and wait and pick up a lot of very relatively cheap Bitcoin Cash tokens, and then utilize that to sort of manipulate the market later. I don't know what you think about this theory, but I think it was interesting.
It's a good theory, only by chance. It's a good theory because of stupidity on the part of Coinbase and Poloniex, plus problems. Potential. I don't know if you would call it incompetence at Ledger. I wouldn't call it that. I would basically say, no one should have had to deal with this hard fork on this short amount of time. It's the most unfortunate thing is that Trezor made it known that they were ready, and it turns out that they weren't. I mean, that was the real mistake. If they weren't so confident in their readiness, I think they would have, got out of this with a lot less, anger towards them. And I really like Trezor. I mean, I have one in my hand right now, though I don't have my camera on.
Yeah. Wait, people are saying another block. Did we get another block or no? Nope, we didn't. Okay. All right, just checking. All right, can we check the prices, see if anything went down? If the dump is happening, then what happened?
We're getting pretty low over on HitBTC right now. Look at these look at this last hour. In the last hour, we fell from almost 0.13, and we just touched 0.08. So that's from 0.1.
That was a pretty big dump.
Right. So in the last hour, this thing literally fell like 50%, almost 50%. It fell like 35 to 40% in 1 hour.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty drastic. And I saw the chart on Bittrex. It looks like they're going down too. Somebody's dumping there.
Let me see here. Which one is Bittrex again?
That's the one. There we go. You have it.
I mean, they're still fairly high up there. I mean, let me see where they were before. 30 minutes. I don't have an hour. Oh, here it is. 1 hour. I mean, it's been lower. I mean, they're hanging in there, but again, they have no liquidity because people have to wait 20 freaking blocks in order to get in there. I mean, just look at the order book. Like, look at the asks. Look at the asks. Like 21. I mean, that's nothing. Look, you got a guy, trying to sell 21, and you got a guy trying to sell 13, and there could be multiple people at the same price. Now, if you go to HitBTC, let's take a look at the order book. Oops. So let's look at the order book. So here you got a guy trying to sell 116. It just disappeared. 116 at a 60% lower price than what's going on over at Bittrex, right? So you got someone trying to sell 6 times the amount of Bitcoin for 60% cheaper value. I mean, what does that tell you? That tells you all that the confirmations matter. People would rather take a 60% hit, but just to get this trade over with and get out.
Yeah, it's hard to tell what they're up to, but that seems to be the sentiment, is that people just want to get rid of some of these coins.
That's definitely my perspective.
I will plead the fifth.
Okay. All right, let's check that donation address. Thomas, do you have a link to that? Let's see if there's anybody that's donated so we could thank them on air.
I need at least something to drink, guys. I'm gonna take a 5. I hope I hope another block doesn't get mined, because remember, the next block is critical, because I mean, even if we assume that Bittrex was the majority of this.
No, we just found the block. We just found the block.
Oh boy!
Yeah.
Oh boy! Watch this. Watch this. Just watch these orders roll in, because again, we can assume that. I mean, this was a 4-hour wait, and now we just hit 3 in a row. So all of these transactions are about to hit the market. That entire 4-hour delay is about to hit the market. So give it about 2 minutes, and I'm expecting a big dump on. This is what I was watching all night. Like, this was the bad scenario. Well, actually, it's a good scenario for everyone that waited for 4 hours trying to get that confirmation. This is like the worst possible thing for people that got stuck, couldn't get their coins out in time, and couldn't get into the big block. So I am absolutely looking for like 0.06, 0.05 right off of this block, just off of this selling. Again, unless they have a plunge protection team that's ready to go to work, and boom, there it is. Just made another low. We're down to 0.076, and I am fully expecting this thing to get below 0.06 and approach 0.05. just from that 4-hour wait of transactions. Because all of those guys are finally able to sell. They waited 4 hours, and if they were smart enough to sell it at a 60% discount versus waiting another 16 blocks, they're selling this shit right now on HitBTC. Now, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate from the big blockers for saying all this and live streaming it, but this is the financial reality. This is the dog-eat-dog world of Wall Street and finance. And this isn't even manipulation. I'm the first one to scream bullshit on manipulation. This is the reality of the situation. I got some orders in here at 0.01 because I think that's where this shit is going over the next 24 to 48 hours. All right, is it just me again? Do you guys
for the disconnection there? I think my laptop was overheating.
I keep telling you to get Windows.
Nah, it's just every 2 years you got to replace it. You got to get a new one. So I'm gonna go ahead and refresh all these links here. I'll throw the camera to you.
All right, guys. I'll take some questions. You know what? I have questions from my own live stream from earlier today that I had to cut short because I was pressed on time. So I can actually go back to my own questions from my live stream on my YouTube channel because there were still like a dozen questions in there. Maybe I'll paste them into our private chat so the other guys can see them as well. So let me see. Let me grab the last question I left off. Wow, there were actually a lot of questions. Hey, thank you, Rich, again, for putting these things together on my channel. I'm just going to glance at this, find the question where I stopped.
All right, we also want to thank our donors. We had a 0.00144,832, 0.00042695, and 0.001. Thank you so much.
All right, so here we go. So I'm going to, hey, guys, hey, Thomas. So I'm gonna post a list of questions that I did not get to in my live stream from earlier, and maybe we can get to them as we do this live stream because I do have a person selecting these questions for me, and they're usually pretty good. He does a good job in picking them out. So I'm just gonna read the first question, and then we'll see how much time we have throughout this live stream. So first question. So at the end, maybe this hard fork will be more beneficial to Bitcoin than the one we would have had to face with the SegWit 2x hard fork. Probably stronger. Now New York agreement seems lost on what to do. And I've actually talked about it. I don't know, Thomas, if you want to say something or you're busy putting links together. I can briefly comment on it. So it's too early to tell what's going to happen with BCash. I know it sounds like I'm sitting here just talking shit, and but I'm really not. I'm just providing the reality of the situation, and this was the reality that I pictured 4 days ago before the fork. So don't shoot the messenger here that it might have come 48 hours late, but it's coming exactly as I expected. So can BCash survive through this dumping? Yes, it could. It actually could. I mean, buyers could step up if the price is low enough. The question is, will the miners step up? There's a big dynamic there. So we don't know the future of BCash. Now, but we can go through hypotheticals, right? Suppose BCash is totally irrelevant by September. Suppose it's trading down at like number 20 on the crypto market cap. Suppose its price is like, $5, $10, like totally irrelevant. What does that mean for the 2x part of the New York agreement? Well, it's going to be a little bit debatable. The big blockers are going to blame the small blockers. They're going to blame the SegWit guys. And the SegWit guys like myself are going to just kind of somewhat snicker and say, well, this is what happens when you go against consensus and your attempt fails. So if this coin dies sooner than later, it most likely puts the November hard fork off the table. Now, if BCash actually becomes something somewhat useful, it's hanging around there like Ethereum Classic, right? Like Ethereum Classic is just hanging around there. It doesn't really have an identity. It's got a couple of big names pumping it with Barry Silbert and Charles Hoskinson, but there's really not all that much activity. So, but it's hanging around. So if BCash is one of these hanging around mechanisms, then both sides are going to try and claim victory. Then it becomes a real problem for the big blockers that like SegWit. Now they have a dilemma. Do they try to force this change onto Bitcoin, but they know it's not going to end well, and people like me and and other people on this channel are going to just tell all the New York Agreement signers to go and join BCash. Just go over there. Look, it's kind of viable. It kind of works. You can go and make it better. Go for it. So that's one scenario. Now the least likely scenario is this thing actually turns around, gains some momentum, and gains some teeth, and it starts to cut into Bitcoin's hash rate. Then we have a real dilemma on our hands, because then there could be this debate, which is the real Bitcoin. Now, I do not see that. I give that almost a zero probability of happening, but it is something to consider. This is the fear factor. And when this fear factor that this coin is actually going to challenge Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin is going to fall. Right now, if you see Bitcoin going to an all-time high, that is straight up confidence in the fact that Bitcoin will not be challenged by this. And if these people couldn't challenge Bitcoin, the hard fork is pretty much over unless it's not contentious. So these are all the possibilities. It's hard for me to choose between the first and the second. I would probably go with this will not help altcoins at all. I think the market cap of altcoins will kind of start to decrease. And don't forget other people trying to copy this model. So they're all waiting for another month or so to see if this is a viable model. I mean, there's a lot going on there. I can talk about this all day, and I probably will when this is all said and done if you aggregate the time.
Now, I hate to disagree with you there, Tone, but I think we're going to have just as big a fight in November as we're having right now.
It really depends on the next what happens over the next week. I can't speculate right now on what's going to happen in November. I really need I honestly need till the end of this month and see what happens with BCash before I start speculating on what happens in November.
I think that's a fair statement. We need to know the near term before we know the long term, because it's kind of a critical time in Bitcoin right now. But yeah, I mean, this is just kind of been crazy. I didn't think that it would play out quite this way, but I suspected that there were enough people that like Bitcoin Cash that it would stick around like the 0.1 area. We'll see what happens. I will remind people that I had a Twitter poll on my that was asking how much do you think Bitcoin Cash will be worth on August 10th? And that's a week from now. And most people chose $0 to $10. I don't think it's going to be $10. And
I didn't vote in that one. I missed that poll. but feel free to guess where I would have been.
Yeah, you probably would have been in that area. I chose that because of what you said, actually, and that won it by a mile. It was like 40-something%. So,
well, our audience is a little bit biased. I will I would take those results with a little bit of a grain of salt. Mm-hmm. A more neutral party like an Andreas Antonopoulos tweeting out that poll might have had completely different results.
Perhaps. Thomas, if you want to pull up that tweet, here it is.
Can we somehow convince Andreas to be our poller. Like anytime we come up with a poll, we'll like find a way to like, hey Andreas, if you're watching, we would love to like have, or maybe you can recommend someone that is like totally neutral, because I think Jimmy is on this channel too much and he's lost his neutral status. If we can get
hey, I resent that remark. I resent that remark. I've worked very hard to be called a cowardly neutral person.
Yeah, if we can get someone popular and neutral to tweet out some of these polls, that would help out like the network tremendously. I'm not sure what we can offer for this service. I don't think it would be.
We could offer money.
Difficult.
We could offer money. I mean, we're getting donations. I'm sure people would pay for that.
Yeah, that's true. But hey, this is a public service. Let's see. But yeah, if anyone wants to suggest, or anybody. If anyone like watching us that is generally considered neutral in the space, and I know these people are few and far between, we would love to get some actual, unbiased polling for some of these things.
Yeah, I would love accurate polls in the Bitcoin space, but I just feel like most of them are Sybil attack just because people can do it, and Bitcoin kind of solves that. The only real way is the only real poll that we really have are prices, dollars. People spend dollars on it, and that seems to be the only real fair and accurate way to do things. And that's, I'd hate to say it, but that seems to be the case.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. I'm not sure I've ever seen an accurate poll. But I just wanted to thank everyone for watching. We have more than 2,100 viewers. That's really amazing. We're trending #1 in technology again.
Wow.
We're in front of NASA. I don't know why you're watching us when you could be watching NASA. Maybe we could pull up NASA in a little window, see what's going on over there.
Oh, this would be like YouTube live Inception. We could get NASA to watch us or something. And then we'd have like a,
Yeah, and imagine if we catch NASA watching us.
That would be amazing. I want that.
That would be a surprise.
I don't know. I think a lot of people at NASA are into Bitcoin, so you never know. Question is, are they big blockers or small blockers? I don't know.
All right, guys. Hey, I'm going to take a 5. I posted a bunch of questions in there that came through my YouTube channel earlier. I didn't get a chance to answer all of them. Glance at those. I was starting from the top. I only read the first question. I'm sure the GBTC is more for me, and looks like the SEC is also more for me.
We'll answer your questions as if we were you. I think that would actually be kind of entertaining.
I'm gonna get a drink. I really need food, but that's all right.
I have a hard time doing the tone accent, though. I don't think I could do the tone accent.
All right, I'll be back, guys. I'm gonna mute myself. I'm gonna take
look at the charts. Now the charts right now.
That's a terrible tone accent. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I can't do any better.
Here we are in the recommended.
Maybe this hard fork. I can't do it. I can't do it. It's really terrible. All right. So the question is, so at the end, maybe this hard fork will be more beneficial to Bitcoin than to the one we would have had to face with SegWit 2x hard fork, probably stronger. Now New York agreement seems lost on what to do. Yeah, that's kind of true. And this is sort of the big question for the community is, how much of the support for the 2x part of the hard fork went with Bitcoin ABC? We don't know. It's kind of hard to know. And that's kind of an open question. I think this is why Tone is refraining from making a prediction until the end of the month, because he needs more information in that regard. How many people have gone over there? How many people have sort of abandoned Bitcoin altogether for Bitcoin Cash? How many people are going to pick up Bitcoin Cash at a lower cost, perhaps, and go with that and sort of have an amicable divorce? And then maybe the SegWit 2x sort of compromise doesn't really need to exist anymore. I don't know. What do you think, Thomas?
I'm still trying to get this NASA feed going. I can hear my computer humming. I think there's too many charts open. The price of BCash is 0.16 on Bittrex. It's 0.89 or 0.089 on HitBTC. Everything is loading and nothing is loading quickly.
Yeah. Is it your crappy internet again, or is it something else?
Oh, judging by the sound of the fan in my computer, the processor is really running right now.
Okay, we did find another block. It looks like 603 was found, 335 kilobytes. Let's see if we can find out how much value there was. We had 30,000 Bitcoin Cash tokens, which is, that's about the size. That's about, the value on the Bitcoin blockchain whenever we find a block there. So, yeah, that's 4 blocks in a row in something like 40 minutes. So that's almost the speed of the Bitcoin network at 1/4 of the difficulty. So that's about 25% of the hash power, if this is to believe. I mean, this is obviously high variance and stuff, but on average, that would be the case. But yeah, this is kind of crazy. There's a lot of transactions that are kind of clearing right now, and we'll see what happens if this trend continues. All right, we are watching NASA with Thomas. Sadly, they are not watching us, so we don't have the Inception thing, because that would be awesome.
We asked them if Bitcoin ruled, but they said 9.
Well, there's only like 533 watching a feed of Earth from space. How is that possible? I mean, that is just such an awesome image. But yeah,
it's really good.
Yeah,
very HD.
I mean, I could just kind of put, I need to make like get like a cheap TV or something and make it like a floating piece of art or something and just show this all day. That's pretty awesome. I could hang with that.
It's hard to believe it's real, but are we in space yet? I don't know. The price of Bitcoin is 2783. Maybe that's the moon.
Well, it's not the moon, but it's certainly where these guys are, at least, right? Like, you should see a little Bitcoin logo go past them or something. Now somebody has to make that GIF, right? Like, somebody has to make that GIF. Little Bitcoin logo going past the spaceship. We are in for liftoff or something like that. I could see that. If you tweet that, I will retweet it, by the way. I will retweet it.
Is that a person in the window there?
Where? Oh, maybe. Yeah, it does look like, yeah, and they just moved away. Hopefully they weren't going to the bathroom or something, because that would be pretty embarrassing.
I was like, somebody's standing too close to the light. You're going to mess up the shot. Okay, our fans have started to join the NASA chat. They're pumping the World Crypto Network and the NASA chat, making sure that they know how important Bitcoin is, even in outer space.
I love that that's what people are doing. Yeah, they're leaving our chat, though. Our numbers are decreasing. We're almost back at 2,000. Come back. Yeah. So anyway, let's take a look at another one of Tone's questions. GBTC has been rallying like a fiend increasingly. It's already insane premium. Well, it has a high premium. Yes. Is this a bullish sign for the price of Bitcoin? I tend to view GBTC as almost disconnected from Bitcoin price, because seems to be, trading. I don't know. I had this crazy conspiracy theory that maybe central banks are buying up Bitcoin, but
our warriors are being slaughtered as the NASA chat bans everyone that's saying buy Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin rules. Woo, Bitcoin. Someone says IOTA. And somebody else at NASA right now is having to ban all these people.
I'm sure they're appreciating what we're doing. Yeah, we got a live stream and technology that's more popular than you, and we are going to take over. Oh my, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, GBTC, at least for me, is completely disconnected from Bitcoin, and I did have this crazy conspiracy theory that maybe some central banks in Asia or something that do have the authority to buy stocks and other equities were buying up Bitcoin, but they couldn't figure out how to like buy actual Bitcoin, so they went ahead and just bought GBTC and put it in their portfolio. Probably a conspiracy like tinfoil hat worthy kind of scenario, but who knows? But that would explain the insane premium that it has. Other reasons might be there's a lot of people that just don't want to be their own bank, don't want to open up a Coinbase account, don't want to know how to use a wallet, so they just go and buy whatever's convenient. GBTC happens to be it, which bodes well for the Winklevoss ETF if that ever happens through the back door of the CFTC. So something to consider. Any thoughts on GBTC, Thomas?
No, I'm having a hard time not laughing at the troll army getting slaughtered at the gates of NASA.
Do we really want to die at those gates? Do we really want to storm those gates?
Their live stream is up from 500 to 600 since we started trolling.
Yeah, that's true. There's 100 against 500. You're still gonna lose, right? Like, actually, the admin's more like 1,000 people. They can ban a lot of people.
Our numbers are down to 1,900. More than 200 of our people have gone over to troll.
God. Oh gosh.
Okay, so we got to cut this out. Bye bye, NASA. We'll see you guys later. So we're gonna close this. So that's gonna hopefully slow down the thread over there. But thanks for everybody. That was fun. We all love NASA. We also
let's see
have
our donation.
So thanks to 0.001. Thank you so much for donating.
Okay,
and,
yeah, that's awesome.
And I guess Tone left us in charge, so we're going to keep this going. But we do feel like we're running out of things to say. We hopped on earlier for this very large block in Bitcoin Cash. As you can see right here, the theory on this block is that Trezor opened up their wallets so people could withdraw their BCash from Trezor. The other theory is that Bittrex opened up their wallets, allowing deposits there, and that there may be a 20 deposits needed, 20 confirmations needed for Bittrex, only 2 needed for HIT BTC, and we're seeing a very large spread in the price of Bitcoin, BCash, sorry. On HIT BTC, it's 0.09, and on Bittrex, it's 0.15. So that's a very large spread in the price of BCash, perhaps having to do with this large block. Looked like we had 1, 2, 3, almost 4 blocks since then. And we're just waiting to see. Perhaps some of these people sent their funds to Bittrex. They're going to need 20 different confirmations before they can sell or make any trades. Whereas if they'd went to HIT BTC for less funds, they could have gotten there in 2 confirmations.
All right, so let's see. Let's take a look at the next question. The chat kind of wants me to keep going on the questions for Tone. Really, since the since the Bitcoin Cash is pretty much centralized, would the SEC consider it an ICO? That's a good question. I'm gonna guess no, because it's, I think, well, I mean, the government can do whatever it wants and they'll rule however they feel like, and that'll be based on political considerations mostly. But I'm going to guess no. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a hard argument for the SEC to make. What do you think, Thomas? What do you think, Tone? I don't know if you're on yet.
I don't think it's an SEC decision. It's not really an ICO. It's a new coin. I'd be more worried about the tax implications, which I would say to everyone: if you get new money, if you make money, you should pay taxes on it. So, not a great thing looking forward. But then, of course, I think a lot of people just made this money anonymously, and maybe even they made large amounts of money. So who knows what's going to happen with the tax implications of all that.
Indeed, indeed. And people really, really don't know what the implications are, and until like they give more direction or clarity with a statement or something, I think we're all kind of in limbo. Then again, like, the government isn't that interested in cryptocurrency, and they don't really comment on these things very often.
And if you have a very small amount of funds, the government probably doesn't care. They did change their Coinbase lawsuit. They're not even going to look at funds under 10,000, under 20,000, something like that.
20,000 Bitcoin or
$20,000, I'm afraid. Yes.
Okay.
No, the 20,000 Bitcoin, you're in trouble for that one.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right, and let's take a look at the next question here. It says, will you do a video on how to securely split Bitcoin stored in hardware wallets or paper wallet into BTC and BCH? That would be really helpful. Yeah, and that's something that we've been talking about, is doing sort of a series of education videos here on the World Crypto Network. I don't think we quite have an idea on what we're going to do or how we're going to do it. But that is something that we have been talking about. I think we need, more higher quality video production to do it properly and have it be like not just a live video like this, but something that you can watch in 10 minutes and know how to do over and over. But yeah, it is in the works. We're talking about how to do it well. Maybe we will do a live show as well on top of that, but that's something that we may be doing soon.
We're definitely looking into doing live videos of that. For the Ledger, I didn't think it was that difficult. For the Trezor, I'm not so sure. I'm seeing links to the GitHub account and descriptions of downloading things. I'm not sure how that's going to be. If we put the Trezor in, it might just say update. It could be as simple as that. If it's beyond that, it's going to be a trouble for a lot of people, no doubt.
All right, let's take a look at that next question. Do you think BCash will be adopted by mainstream commerce if it gains some traction? That's a really good question. I imagine it has about as much chance as any altcoin. It's hard to get merchants to adopt it now. Maybe the infrastructure is sort of there because they had to split it already, but I don't know if that's compelling enough, especially if not as many people are using it for commerce. The fact that a lot of Bitcoin holders have it may be like something that they can do, but I mean, it looks like a lot of people are just dumping it, so they're not really, it's the problem with these airdrops. Even if you airdrop a ton of your altcoin to a lot of people, that doesn't necessarily mean that they'll use it. Most people just care to spend it and get more Bitcoin, which is what seems to be happening. There are all these giant dumps. So that's not something that I see unless they do something crazy, which as of this moment, given that they have 2 developers, it doesn't seem like they'll necessarily get.
They're going to need more than 2 developers, and they might need some place that you could spend this. Has anyone spent their Bitcoin Cash or maybe even bought a pizza? Has anyone bought a pizza for this?
Anyone want to buy us a pizza? I just, by the way, during the 8-hour telecast, there was a guy in Austin that actually tried to buy me a pizza. He tried to Google me and find my address, except he sent it to the wrong address because he couldn't find my address. But I just wanted to give him a shout out. He did try to stalk me and failed. But yeah, this
is part of a good story and part of a bad story.
Yeah, but and then he was like, I just called the pizza guy. Called me. He said that this isn't the address of a Jimmy song. So yeah, next time if you're gonna do that, just like let me know first, and maybe we will have the pizza on air. And not that I eat pizza, I'm on the paleo diet, so that would have been kind of like awkward, like being like, okay, thanks for the pizza, but I'm not gonna eat it. That would have been kind of terrible, actually. But yeah.
We are seeing in the chat that Junseth bought a pizza with BCash, but it was covered with pepperoni.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's read the next question. There is great speculation that the Chinese government is behind BCash. Any comment? That's really hard for me to speculate. I mean, that's really in the tinfoil hat territory, and it's the sort of thing where I'd be like, that could be true. It's certainly possible, but how would I ever get any evidence in that direction? Unless you have Chinese government documents or something. Even then, I would think it could be fake too. So I mean, Yeah, this is a nice thing about cryptography, right? Like, you know for sure whether or not someone signed something, whereas with documents and videos and circumstantial evidence, it's all sort of speculation, and you never really know. So, yeah, my comment is I have no idea. I doubt I will ever have an idea until somebody comes out and admits it or something. So, yeah. Any thoughts on that, Thomas?
No, I'm still just reading the chat, laughing about the pizza coin and pepperoni. They're saying it might be a way homer. You'll get that one on the way home.
I'm missing the joke. Maybe can you explain?
It's a way homer.
Okay, is it a Simpsons joke? I'm trying to connect it to some cultural context.
It's from Raising Arizona by the Coen brothers.
I see. I did not watch that.
John Goodman classic with Nick Cage and Holly Hunter. Great film.
Hey, somebody commented on my haircut. You noticed, huh? Yeah, I did. I shaved my head this morning. Great time to do it.
But I think we are kind of running out of steam on this live stream. I think we've explained the giant block, but Tone is back. If Tone wants to keep this live stream going, he's going to have to come back, or we could try another question. Jimmy, what else have we got? I can't see these questions, but
well, they're in the little chat in the Google Hangout window. But
mine must be crashed. All I see is a Twitter message. But
oh yeah, they're all gone now. So yeah. We're done with the questions. Maybe we can take some questions from the audience.
They're requesting more bad jokes.
Bad jokes? What?
A guy walks into a bar. He says, "Ouch."
A Bitcoin core developer walks into a bar. They don't take cash. That's one I read on Twitter earlier.
Let's see. They're saying they want Richard Hart on the show. We should add a price ticker. Let's do the price again. The price of Bitcoin is $27.87. The price of BCash on Bittrex is 0.15. The price of BCash on HitBTC is 0.09. Quite a big spread. And we did see a large block go through the BCash network later. People are recognizing that Raising Arizona may be the best Nicolas Cage movie of them all, and that includes his Oscar-winning performance in Leaving Las Vegas. Maybe it's a movie Jimmy should hear of. And Bob Morton sent us a free pizza slice for $5. Thanks, Bob.
That's a giant pizza slice, man.
The San Francisco slice, man. You got to pay more. You got
to pay me if you want a Tone impression, okay? You got to
hear Jimmy's Tone impression. You have to have the right things to say. That would help a lot, I think.
Yeah, indeed. But what's up with Tone's camera, by the way? I don't understand.
Pointed at the sky now. Meanwhile, we're discussing Con Air and maybe The Rock as
The Rock was good. I enjoyed The Rock.
Nicolas Cage movies, and someone also mentions Wild at Heart. Now, there's a great movie. David Lynch, Wild at Heart.
How about Face Off? I like Face Off.
The best part in Face Off is when John Travolta and Nick Cage get there. He's like, I want to take his face off. I love when they say the name of the movie, like in Pulp Fiction when they're like, let's have some Pulp Fiction. Oh, but they didn't. They didn't, though.
Yeah, they did not. They did not. They did not. That was brilliant filmmaking, though.
All right, everyone's loving it now. We're on the movies. Lost Highway, The Postman, this snakeskin.
The Postman. That is. Oh God, that was like the worst movie of my life. I've never seen a worse movie in my life. That was so terrible.
The best part of The Postman is that guy shows up and they're like, "Didn't you used to be Tom Petty?"
I don't remember that.
Yeah, Tom Petty's in it. He's a musician. They don't know who he is. And it's like all of culture has lost its brain in 10 years.
I mean, I just didn't understand why that movie had to be like 3 hours. That was like the worst part, right? Like it was like terrible for 2 hours. You can get out, but like it was like terrible for 3. And like that last hour is just like complete torture. Because you're just like, what is on?
Well, it's when they used to let Kevin Costner edit his own movies, like Wyatt Earp is another good movie that's also 3 hours long. People are saying Hudsucker Proxy. I love that one. National Treasure. That's not a very good Nicolas Cage movie, even though they made more of them. I like the one. It's I always get the title. It's based on a Philip K. Dick story, and Nicolas Cage can stop time and kind of rewind time a little bit. I think it's called Next, something like that.
So yeah, I mean, I wonder how many of these movies would change if you added Bitcoin, because so much of it is just sort of, it makes it like kind of obsolete or whatever. And cell phones. Between those two, I don't know if most plots
between Bitcoin and cell phones, it's a lot harder to kidnap people. They're like,
yeah.
Where's the money? I'm waiting for my 2 transactions, my 2 confirmations, so I can have my ransom here in BCash.
Oh, there's Tone. What's up, Tone? Can you hear us? All right,
no, he can't hear us. He's having technical issues. The guys are saying Next is a great movie. Snatched. I think the movie is called Snatch. Lord of War. Deadpool. Yeah, Nick Cage isn't in Deadpool. Come on, people. Get with the program here. We're talking about Nick Cage movies.
Nick Cage. I want to see him in a Quentin Tarantino movie. I wonder how he would do.
Oh, that would be pretty amazing. It's going to have to be a reclamation, though, bringing back an old, aged Nick Cage. I hear he used to have a dinosaur skull, but he had to sell it because he ran out of money.
Yeah, he did. He bought castles in Germany or something. All right. Hey, Tone, can you hear us yet?
Yeah, I am back. I'm gonna take you guys outside.
Okay.
We've been that bad. We're talking about Nick Cage movies. We stopped attacking NASA. It was not.
Is this what you guys? Is this what happens to the show when I walk away?
You should see the chat scrolling by with all caps descriptions. Now, Valley Girl. There's a good Nick Cage movie. He was very young in that movie.
Oh, and you forgot the best part. Tone, we both did an impression of you. The audience was not amused.
We need to work on it. It's kind of a high-pitched impression. It's like, no.
Well, you got to have a lot of that like New York, like accent in there, but I can't really do it.
I have to give me a second. I have to switch Wi-Fi signals.
Oh shoot, I have to go. I have consulting.
You guys.
Listen.
I'm gonna watch more Tone Vays videos so I could do a better impression. That's like my goal in life now, is to do a better Tone Vays impression and then do the technical charting and everything. This wick here means I can't even do it. I can't.
This one's up on a 9, and that means that after a 9 you're going to have a 5, and you're going to have several.
And this trend line here, this trend line, I can't even do it.
All right, I think we're trending to the end of this trend line, but we're going to get one more word from Tone, maybe before we cash out this live stream. It's been a long time. We're still at 1,700 followers, a bunch of followers who like Nick Cage movies, and they don't mind talking about them in the afternoon after we've seen a giant block on BCash. It was an amazing, amazing block.
They think your impression's better than mine. Oh, Thomas, you're beating me on the Tone impression scale here.
See, and I can do Chris Ellis too. I can be like, later on the World Crypto Network, we'll have 3 more blocks and 3 cars.
Yeah, my accents always sound better in my head than they do when I actually speak them. So yeah, it's unfortunate. Anyway, Tone, what's your final word, buddy?
Oh man, I'm just looking at the charts again. Literally, like you take 10 minutes off, and God knows what happens around here. I don't know. Let me. Now that I'm on one monitor that I turned into a tablet, everything is harder to find all of a sudden. Hold on a second. Let me find the chart again. Here it is. Okay, it bounced back up a little bit. Without even looking at it, I can almost guarantee that there hasn't been another block found.
There was 6:03, so this was 25 minutes ago. But since we've been on air, we've had four blocks.
Right. So basically, after the big wait, there were only 2 more. Oh, there was a 3rd block after that, right?
Mm-hmm. There's four blocks since we came on air. So the big block and then 3 more blocks after that.
Right. So that last block that just happened was totally irrelevant, because there wasn't all that much momentum building up. It was basically when that big block actually hit the exchanges, you saw a big drop. And I'm telling you right now, if Ledger didn't have that glitch that we also, you know, happened to find out during this live show, it would have been a lot worse, and I'm still expecting that to come.
By the way, Trezor just updated their blog post. It says that Bitcoin Cash tool, the claim BCH tool, was brought back online. So yeah, you can go and do it with Trezor. So we'll see if that changes things. We also have a question for Marco Sar. I'm pretty sure this is a little bit of a trollish question, but what would your recommendation be when wanting to switch careers from aerospace engineering to working in the cryptocurrency space? Aerospace to cryptocurrency.
Just say no. Don't do it.
Yeah. Was he the one responsible for that NASA stream, and now he's been defeated?
Well, I don't know. He donated $5 to us. I think we're obligated to be nice.
It only took the NASA engineers 5 minutes to give up their live chat and join the cryptocurrency pirates who had 4 times their viewers. Huzzah!
We have conquered NASA. All right. I would say go look at the Bitcoin core source code and go from there. That's my answer. All right.
Yeah, it really depends if he's a developer or not. I mean, there's plenty of room for good developers.
Indeed, indeed. All right. I think we need a bye-bye from you soon, Thomas. I think I'm running out of steam.
One more check of the prices, and then maybe we'll have some of that meal in the middle of the day they call lunch. I've heard of it. The price of Bitcoin is $27.84. It's down from a high of $28.07. The price of BCash on Bittrex is actually trending up at 0.17, around $472, while the price of BCash on HitBTC is up as well at 0.1. Thanks so much for watching. We had more than 2,000 live viewers at the peak. Make sure to subscribe and like and share. And if you got a little Bitcoin, maybe send them to this donation address on the screen. Send us a super chat. We'll be back here tomorrow around 1 p.m. Pacific time for the Bitcoin group. And we'll probably be back for the Today in Bitcoin news in the morning around 8 a.m. Pacific time. So make sure to subscribe to the World Crypto Network to stay up to date. Until next time, bye-bye.
Bye-bye, guys.